Hi everybody, it's Miss Laura Reinschmidt here from Ballet North, of course. And before we put all the lessons on the parent portal, we wanted to make sure that you got the most good out of it possible. So I have typed myself some notes. I'm going to read from them from time to time to explain exactly how the students can get the most out of these online classes. First of all, we want you to be very careful. We can't watch what you're doing unless you're in a Zoom live class with us. Make sure you have proper space around you so you don't kick anything. And we want to make sure that you're properly warmed up before you do your jumps, your stretches, your splits, stuff like that. Remember, you always do the bar first, then you stretch, and then you do your center bar. And make sure you're staying centered on your leg. Then and only then should you do your jumps, your pirouettes, your diagonal movements. Also, we would like you to stay on your own class level or below. You're going to see many classes online that are above your class level, and it's fun to look at them, but we don't want you trying stuff that's above your level. These classes are all designed for certain ages and levels of advancement. You may want to watch a higher class, but remember, students in those levels have had more training than you. They've been taught while we supervise them on the proper technique for each step. So if you haven't learned it, you might get hurt. You also might pick up bad habits, and then we have to fix those once we get back into class. Some of the lessons that you're going to see aren't complete yet. We took the time when we were recording the lesson to explain exactly what the goal of each exercise is, particularly in adagio and jump combinations. We just ran out of time. So we're going to add the remaining part of those lessons real soon. We were in the studio on Sunday for 11 and a half hours, and on Monday we were there for 9 and a half hours. Our helpers were exhausted, and we were tired too. Things I want you to remember. Of course, we would prefer to be in the class with you, supervising and watching over your progress, but there is an upside to taking a class on a recorded lesson. First of all, you can take the class every single day, not just 1 or 2 times a week. If you do this, you're going to advance really fast. In every lesson, we will make sure to mention what is most important. Some of the skills take longer than a week to master when you don't take class every day. But if you listen to the instructions you're being given, and if you do this more than your usual class time, you'll be surprised at how fast it gets to be more comfortable. In the beginning, you're going to be really sore. But as you do more lessons, this soreness is going to subside and you'll get stronger. Here's my recommendation. Let's say you normally take class on Monday and Wednesday at 5 o'clock. Put the recorded lesson on at those times, but also do an additional lesson, like maybe on a Friday or a Saturday. Better still, try to do it every single day. Also, don't forget, you can take the bar and then stop. Then take a 5-minute break, get a drink of water or something, or if you're feeling really tight and you want to stretch your muscles. Then turn the lesson back on and do the center bar. And then after the center bar, take another break. And then turn the lesson back on and do the rest of the class. We can't do this, obviously, when we are in the classroom because we have to make sure we get everything fitted into the amount of time from when your parents pick you up, drop you off and pick you back up. But you can take as much time as you want to. Also, if there's a step that gives you trouble, you can turn the lesson off and do that step over and over until you get it. We can't do that in the studio, but you can do it in a recorded lesson. So here's a couple things I want you to remember. If you take breaks, allow 2 hours for an hour-and-a-half class. That way you have enough time to get through everything in the lesson. Number 2, and this is real important, Don't skip the hard parts of the lesson and do only your favorite things. I know, the bar is boring, but it's really important and we need it. Some of you like to move really slow and hold your leg up high, but maybe you don't like jumping. Or you like jumping, but you don't like balancing on one foot. Or you like standing on your right foot, but you don't like standing on your left foot. Don't skip parts. You need all of it. Each lesson is designed to make all the muscles in the body strong, not just some of them. So think of your body as being in the middle, cut in the middle, and each side has got to be equally strong. If everything doesn't work together, you're going to be lopsided. This is how people get injured. We have worked so hard for so long designing classes that will teach you to jump, turn, soar, balance, dart, and stretch, all while being graceful. So if you need to take a break before or after an exercise, take a break. But don't do a lopsided class doing only the things you like. We are going to be adding more recorded lessons based on the lesson before. So if you haven't been practicing this lesson, you won't be able to do the next one because it will be a harder lesson. Here's what I don't want to happen. Some of you will do every class and get really strong. But others, if they're lazy, they're going to get behind. Then when we come back to the studio, we don't want some of you way ahead and others way far behind and not able to keep up. Anyone who does any art form well doesn't wait for the teacher to tell them to practice. They practice because they want to improve. So that's how this is going to work. When I give someone a solo, I teach them the dance and then I tell them to practice it on their own. All the advanced students know this. This is also true of things like pirouettes, double tours, fouette turns. No one ever gets good at these things by just doing them in class. They have to practice on their own. I hope when we come back that I see that people can jump higher, can do multiple turns, maybe even fouette turns, and double tours. And of course, that's for older students. I also have a picture of a human skeleton. I'm doing this because for all the Vaganova students, you have heard me talking about lifting your rib cage off your waist until I'm blue in the face. Here's the skeleton. Look how much room there is between the rib cage and the hips. That is real important for ballet dancers, and I'm going to include this in the information that we send to parents. All Vaganova students know that in the center bar, there's a section where you have to stand on one foot en releve to do fondue and frappe and rond de jambe en l'air. The whole reason to do this is to lift the upper body away from the lower body. This gives you more stability in the air on your jumps, on your landing from your jumps, on turns and working on point. Most of the time when people jump and land when they first start, their spine just crumples down and their ribs drop down onto their waist and hips. And that's really hard on your legs. So if you tend to slump or crumple your spine, then you're resting your ribs right on your hips, and whatever the legs do, your upper body is going to be affected. If you look at the picture, you can see how much distance there is in your spine between your ribs and your hips. When you do your center bar, and again, this is for Vaganova grade 3 and up, if you fall off your half toe, stop the video. Try lifting your rib cage until you can do it without falling off demi-point. Then move on to the next exercise. That is the beauty of a recorded class. You can take your time. And when I practiced at home on my own, I would sometimes have to do something 10 times before I felt like I could feel it in my body. I hope when we come back to class, or when you come in for your private lesson to be recorded as a demonstrator, I'll see improvement in that area. Remember, taking class and trying to improve is not just putting on the video and dancing along with it. It means you work on things that are hard for your own body to do. I know it's hard to get motivated to take class without somebody pushing you to do it. So I have listed 5 dancers, and I would like you to find videos of these dancers on YouTube. They're some of the most beautiful dancers I have ever seen. They worked alone on their own, on their technique. They didn't wait for someone to tell them to practice. They inspired me as a student and as a dancer. You can see just how the body can fly. I've got their names right here. This one is Natalia Osipova. She was a Russian dancer. She was trained, of course, at the Vaganova Institute. She danced with the Bolshoi Ballet, and now she dances with the Royal Ballet in England. When you watch her in the ballet Giselle, she flies. Then we have Marianela Nunez. She was born and trained in the country of Argentina. She now dances with the Royal Ballet also. And when you look at videos of her doing the Rose Adagio in Sleeping Beauty and any of the other ballets, look how high she holds her upper body, no matter what those legs are doing. I also, for my older students, want you to pay attention to her soutenu turns. They always cross before she rotates her body. Then there's some dancers who no longer dance. They've either retired or passed away. This one is a French dancer named Sylvie Guillaume. And if you haven't got this, don't worry about it because I'm posting my whole little speech on our website. She is my favorite all-time dancer. She's retired. I think she's 55 years old now. But find a video of her doing Grand Pas Classique. It's amazing. Then we have 2 male dancers. Baryshnikov was a household name when he defected to the United States. Actually, it was Canada. But then he came to the United States and had a whole career. When you watch the things that he does, he moves his arms, his legs while he's rotating and jumping, and it's amazing to watch. It's like he has jets on his legs. The last dancer I want to share with you is Rudolph Nureyev. He defected from Russia in the 1960s, and he changed the world of ballet for men. And his technique doesn't look like Baryshnikov, but you have to remember that this was 50 years ago. And so he was absolutely amazing for that time. So these are some dancers that I want you to watch whenever you're feeling, oh goodness, watch some videos and make sure you get inspired. You're going to see how high they keep their upper body at all times. This is to keep them afloat while their lower body is doing such difficult steps. And here's a surefire way to know if you aren't keeping your upper body away from your waist. If you're doing something on half toe, on one foot, or you're doing a turn and you change your arms and you fall off your toe, you will know you are not holding your spine long enough away from your hips. So I hope all of this has been helpful. I also am going to be posting this whole speech on the website because you might not have caught the names of those people. And I also have some other things about doing choreography, about being creative, some of my own experience, and also some books that I think you might enjoy. Some of them are fun to read out loud with your whole family. Bye now.